I'm Xing Anquan from the Department of Materials and Mineral Resource Engineering. So in this lecture, I will make a brief introduction about Linux. So here is the outline. So firstly, I will make a brief review about the computer cluster. And I will make an introduction about the structure, the hardware, and the software in computer cluster. And I will make an introduction about the Linux later. The content would include the basic command and some of operations, the installation of packages, libraries, and programs, and other related topics. So previously, we have mentioned that here is a schematic plot of computer cluster, or we typically call it a supercomputer. So you will see a computer, and you will see a lot of computing nodes in a cabinet, and you will see a internet switch that make some interconnection between the computing nodes and the computer, and you will see a storage for file sharing among the computing nodes and the server. So let's make a more brief plot. So in this kind of structure of a computer cluster, we typically call it a Beowulf cluster. So here we will have a head node. You can treat it as a top of a computer, and we have a network switch make a interconnection between the head nodes and all of the computer nodes. And you will also see storage here. And here we are trying to manipulate the head node computer in order to make some simulation by using this computer cluster or a supercomputer. So for a head node, we typically call it, or we treat it as a master computer. So the basic usage of a head node is a scheduler. So we will use the head node in assigning all jobs to the computing nodes, and we will use head nodes in allocating the computing resource about your job, your work. And typically, the head node itself will not be part of a computing node, which means we will not use the head node in computing. The head node is only used as a scheduler. Moreover, the head node will be used as a manager about your data, and it will treat it as an internet gateway for computing nodes, which means the head node is directly connected to the internet, whereas computing nodes were laterly introduced. The computing nodes will not connect to the internet directly. As for the computing nodes, we typically treat it as a slave computer. And the main purpose, the main usage of the computing nodes would be computing. And the computing node just do what the head node has been assigned to these computing nodes. And these kinds of computing nodes would typically, there is no storage in computing nodes. So we will make data interconnection among the different nodes and the storage we will later mention. So here is a photograph of most powerful supercomputer in Taiwan, which is called Taiwan NIA. So you will see a lot of cabinets here, 1, 2, 3, and several lines. And in each cabinet, there would be more than 10 computers. And for each computer, it would have, I think it would have CPU that's about maybe more than 30 or more than 100 CPU for each computer. As for other components in Beowulf structure, we will have a network switch. And the main purpose of a network switch is that the network switch is used as a high-speed intranet among head nodes and all computing nodes with very high throughput and very low latency. So if we make a brief comparison between the network switch used in the supercomputing and the network switch used in general usage, such as the computer in your home or in your office. The network switch for supercomputing, for example, one of a well-known type is InfiniBand. For the InfiniBand HDR, we will have 50 gigabits per second as speed. However, in home-used network switch, such as gigabit Ethernet, we will only have 1 gigabit per second. So you can see that the speed difference between the usage of supercomputing and home use will be at least 50 times. And below is a photograph of InfiniBand switch. So you will see a lot of in this switch they can connect to at least 20 or more computer in each switch with relatively high speed in comparing to a general gigabit Ethernet switch. And then we may have storage. And the main purpose for the storage is just for the file storage and the file sharing among the head nodes and the computing nodes. Typically, for the performance and the safety issue, we will use the disk array. So the below is a photograph for a disk array. So you'll see a lot of hard disk aside in a cabinet. And once if part of that is broken, the remaining, you can still get data from the remaining. So the safety of your data would be ensured. So here are the hardware or a structure of computer cluster. So later we will make an introduction that's about the software in computer cluster. So the most important software should be an operating system in the system. So as we know, in our personal computer, the operating system would be dominated by Microsoft Windows. So I think the ratio would be around 80%. And the remaining would be OS X from Apple. But as for the market share of operating system in supercomputer, it would be dominated by Linux. So you can see a ratio. Previously, it would be a Unix, and later it would be a Linux. And the ratio or the share of the Linux operating system in supercomputer usage would be 100%. So if we examine the data in detail, so we just count the operating system in the top 500 supercomputer. The operating system would be all Linux. So it should be 100%. You cannot find any other kinds of operating system in supercomputer.